The third parallel session is How to Never Waste a Crisis by Akshay Cherian. Mr. Cherian is the co-founder of Biz Sherpa, which focuses on scaling up business by solving their top growth barriers. As the co-founder of Meta Results, he has co-led projects for Fortune 1000 companies like Nike, Siemens, Oracle, Dell, and IBM.
Hi, my name is Akshay Cherian. I'm a scale-up coach, and I want to welcome you to the session called Never Waste a Crisis. I actually did this literally in the beginning of COVID, and I have run this session many times for entrepreneurs in different industries, in different sectors, and it will be my joy to walk you through this one in the next 20 minutes. I want to thank the ASCENT community and team for the opportunity, and I want to thank you for being here. I will move a little quickly because 20 minutes is a little tight. If you have some pen and paper, that would be great. So the core idea in the entire thing is that it's not enough to work hard. You have to shift the way you think. And I'm going to share with you 3 shifts that I think are necessary to make the most of a crisis time. So a little bit about me. Prior to working with small and medium businesses and startups, I had worked with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. Currently, my focus is on marketing, upping the profitability, and building a second line of leaders to free up founders like you. What will I do in this session is walk you through the Never Waste a Crisis framework. I'll give you some examples, and then finally we'll end with very short case studies of actual business problems that have been solved using this. You know, in some cases I've been their coach, in some cases I've been their partner. There are different models, but that's what I want to walk you through. Okay, before we dive into the content, I want you to take a minute and think about one thing you are grateful for. For example, I'm grateful for this opportunity. Yeah, just look at your business, look at your life. Take a minute and write down one thing you're grateful for. I'm assuming you've put one thing down. So what I'd like to start with is I want you to look at the word insights. What do you think is the difference between insights and information? There's a lot of information, but there are very few insights. Insights are those aha moments. And I want to ask you, when was your last aha moment? And what triggered it? For example, our recent aha moment is the idea that running ads for clients globally helps them have a huge jump in profitability. And what triggered it was we had a client that came in with a profitability challenge, and we just tried the small experiment and we figured that out. Yeah. So I want you to think about an aha moment and what triggered it for you, because you want to get good at picking up these patterns. Okay. So take a minute and think about that. When was your last aha moment? What triggered it? It could be at a business level. It could be at a personal level. A personal insight could be something like, you know, I tend to think well when I talk to friends who are in different businesses, something like that. Yeah. The idea is that once you find that pattern, you can repeat it again and again. Okay, let me draw a second kind of shift. Insights versus insanity. Einstein has said this: insanity is doing what you did before and you're expecting a new result, right? See, think about it this way. The results you're getting right now are a function of your approach and the inputs. For breakthrough results, very often people are like, okay, to double my results, I need to double my investments. Yeah, but then that's not really insightful, right? That's just working harder. That's just more of the same. Instead, you want to shift your approach. You want to ask yourself new questions, and I'm going to help you with some of the tools to do those things. Shift number 1, forget about ideas. Start with a challenge. Ask the question, where do we want a breakthrough next? For example, let's say you take sales. You could pick anything, but let's say you take sales. Then define your results. My monthly sales are this now, and this is the result I want it to be. Let's say 32 lakhs and 40 lakhs. The second shift, reframe barriers. What is the top barrier that stops me from getting that result? What stops me from getting 40 lakhs? Let's say your conversion rates are low, right? Now, what you want to do is, when there are barriers, you want to turn the barrier into a question. So you see how the mind works, is that when you end a sentence with a barrier, it assumes the end. But if you say the same thing as a question, it assumes a new beginning. For example, how can I have a deep sense of connection with my team when we are distributed, right? And one idea could be, we could do a Zoom call once a week where everybody shares highs and lows, right? So you turn a barrier into a question and you come up with some ideas. You list some ideas, right? So what the pattern here is, when you turn a barrier into a question, it assumes a new beginning. And the way to generate more questions is, one of the things we love to say is, don't just brainstorm, question storm, right? How might I grow sales when getting new clients is tough, or when conversions is tough? For example, who else has typically bought from me? What else can I do to reduce the risk? Why else would people want to buy from me? Is there a trend? Is there an occasion? Is there, for example, Diwali? How can I leverage that, right? Where else? Which sectors and categories are growing? Can I position myself there? For example, with us, a lot of SaaS companies, education companies really grew during the lockdown, right? When else, right? Is there a time where I can reach out to customers and convert, right? How else? Can I go through a new channel? Can I go with a different kind of partner, right? So each of these thoughts will generate some ideas. Each of these questions will generate some ideas, and you want to list the ideas down. Once you list the ideas down, you want to rate them on valuable and simple. You see, when an idea that's a 9 or 10 on value is high value, it really solves a barrier. And an idea that's 9 or 10 on simplicity really is doable, right? And you want ideas that are both valuable and simple. Imagine you had 5 or 6 ideas. You rated them on valuable 10, simple 10, and you had different scores, and you tallied it on 20, right? Take the one with the highest score and break it down into steps. Usually at this point, teams build plans. But if this is something you're doing new for the first time, the third shift is prototype it. Break it down into steps, right? Like 5 to 7 steps, right? And then what you want to do is you want to act it out with a team member. Like, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. You're the kind of customer, right? And ask them to say, what do they like and what do they wish? And based on their feedback, tweak your steps, tweak your pitch, tweak your messaging, right? So a very quick 5-minute exercise like this will help you clean up, the steps. Again, this is a very, very simple one because we have only 20 minutes, but you can apply this to multi-crore challenges. It's a little bit more sophisticated. Yeah. So shift number 3 is, don't just plan, prototype it. All right. Before we dive into the mini case studies, I want to quickly summarize the 3 shifts I suggested to you. Number 1, start with a challenge, not an idea. Number 2, turn barriers into questions. Number 3, don't just plan, prototype. Break it down into 5 to 7 steps and act it out and ask people what they liked and what they wished. Now, this is the essence of the system. You can apply this to more and more sophisticated areas, to more and more sophisticated problems, and I'm going to give you 3 case studies. I've been involved in these projects in different levels and different roles. The first one was a friend of mine built a fantastic product that allowed kids to run who are disabled, but he didn't have the money for the product launch. One of the things that we brainstormed was the idea that what if, for the first time, at a marathon, we had children running. So the TCS marathon happened in Bangalore, and we had a product launch that was a huge hit. And thereafter, he's taken the idea of getting disabled people to participate in events they normally don't participate, both as a PR activity and as a lead gen activity. So this is an example of how do I launch a product, and the barrier is, so that's the breakthrough we wanted. The barrier was without having a lot of money. The second one is, how do I raise money, but we're getting low investor traction? So this is a company of ours. It was offline, and they wanted to kind of move some of the business online during COVID. And we created this idea of a virtual franchise, right? So we provided the leads to them, we provided the training and sales to them, and they would pay for a franchise fee and a commission. And we expanded the business using that idea. And they didn't have to dilute equity as well. Here's a third idea. And these are all projects that one session is not enough. You have to sit down and work it through, but I'm just giving you options for you to think about it. So this company is a chemicals company I was working with, and they had a challenge to launch in China. And they weren't able to make it forward. And then we asked the question, who else is missing that if they were on our team, the game would change? And one answer was, what if we had a partner who understood the China business? And we looked at our distributor network, and we found a distributor in Gujarat who actually understood the Chinese market. And we set up a partnership where it was build, operate, and transfer, right? So he would build it for us, he would operate it for us, and then eventually transfer it, and we would give him a commission as the business moved forward. We would obviously invest as well. These are three quick examples. I thought I'd just share it with you, where there's an ambition, there's a barrier, you turn the barrier into the question, you prototype it, and then you build things forward. So hopefully this has got you thinking. I wanted to give you something super actionable that you can use right away for your teams. Okay, now it's reflection time. I want you to take a minute. What was most surprising or useful from the 3 shifts? From the process I did, what did you like and what did you wish? And from the challenge, where else can you apply it? And like I said, this is a really simple one, but it's absolutely actionable. Okay, so we have come to kind of the close of what I wanted to share with you all. These are my contact details. That's my number, this is my email ID, and you can contact me on LinkedIn. I put out some good content about growing your business, and it'll be great to connect there. Once again, thank you so much for being on this session, and thank you so much, ASCENT team, for the opportunity to run this for you. Thank you.